I'm super excited for our guest today.
Yeah, me too.
Big fan of his. He's going to be at the Improv. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow.
No show on Sunday.
Get your tickets now because it will sell out.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed. With us in studio, comedian Donnell.
Stop the music. I'm rich, bitch. Even though it wasn't no music, we just had to stop it.
Yeah, you gotta
Listen,
yeah.
there's something dramatic about that was a Kanye West move I just did. Like no music. Stop the music.
But you brought up
He would just
literally
say
my
that's the
first
new music. He'd say the new music is no music.
Is that my music? Stop my music.
Donnell, you brought up my first question. I swear to God, I had it on my list because I grew up, and an entire nation grew up watching the Chappelle Show.
Oh, you were obsessed with it.
Oh, in college, me and my friends we watched every episode. I mean, I go back and watch it with my wife. It still holds up. It's super funny.
I was about to say, did you get laid from the show? And he said, and he was like, did I watch my wife? I was like, oh, never mind. Stop the music. Your wife just busted like, stop the music. You mean you had sex with somebody before me?
Yeah. Well, my wife didn't. Well, she claims she didn't.
Right.
But she also used to have these parties where they'd all get together, get pizza, and watch the Chappelle Show.
Oh, really?
So I'm pretty sure she may not have had sex, but I know she sucked a couple of dicks.
Oh, no.
A couple.
Stop the music.
Yeah.
What is your definition of couple? Because you know women don't give you the real number.
No.
If you think she sucked a couple dicks, that's at least 2 dozen. That's easily 2
That's
dozen.
higher than I thought. I was gonna go less than 5. No, I was gonna say more than 5, less than 10 though.
Right.
Somewhere in there.
We don't really ever want to know.
No,
answers
you don't
to
want to
those
know
questions.
that.
But the I'm rich bitch that ended up. Well, first, what's the story
That
behind
sounds
that?
like people coming in right now don't understand that. And the I'm rich bitch, yeah, they were insulting wealthy women on the show.
And our listeners
Yeah, they know.
they're fine.
They know.
But how did that even come about? And then why did
That phrase?
Yeah, the phrase, and then Chappelle. I guess it was his decision to start playing at the end of every episode.
Well,
with him and the handcuffs, the money, everybody.
Well, we do what we call the wraparounds. We tape the show, then we do the studio part of it.
Yeah.
And then when we played that sketch, the reparations sketch, and that when that line hit in front of the studio audience, people went nuts. And for some reason, it resonated with Dave. And he was like, he just wants to put it on, I guess that's called the vanity card at the end of it. He wanted to put it in and it blew up. But the interesting thing about it, that it almost didn't happen because when we were doing that sketch, I had to drive that truck, right? First off, when we did that sketch, I didn't have a driver's license.
Really?
Yeah, but nobody, like when you're doing production, nobody's going to say, do you have a driver's license? I was like, please don't nobody ask me if I have a driver's license. That means I won't be in the skit, right?
Yeah.
So nobody said anything. I was like, okay, let's go. And I had to drive that truck. And at that time, we didn't have a lot of money in the budget to do a Spielberg move where they just block an entire street down.
Yeah.
So when I drove down the street, I had to stop at the light. And then there was the other actress who was playing the news reporter. She was on the Apple box. So I had to not run her over. I had to hit a mark. I had to worry about the police pulling me over, right? I had to take the keys out because the diesel engines, they're real loud, so we wouldn't be able to get the right sound.
Yeah.
So I had to stop it, don't get arrested, blah, 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 blah. And then I had to deliver the line. And I kept stumbling the line, I kept messing it up, I couldn't get it right. Then Neil Brennan looked at me in the truck and he was like, yo, B, because Neil Brennan wants to be black. So yo, B, right? He doing like 80 slang. Yo, B, what up, dog?
Yeah.
He's like, yo,
What's
B.
crack-a-lackin'?
What's crack-a-lackin'? He said, yo, B, yo, you got to, we can't do this all day. You either get it or it's going to be over, right? And I was frustrated. I looked at him, I said, I'm rich, bitch! And that was me. And then it was like, cut, we got it. And it became like a part of pop culture.
Yeah.
It probably was one of the biggest catchphrases in the history of sketch comedy.
Yeah. No, it's
People
insane.
were just yelling at places. You'd hear it.
Well,
I was dating this chick years ago.
You'd hear it in traffic,
Anywhere. Years ago, I was dating this chick, and she was from a wealthy family, and she didn't really know at the time. She didn't really know how big the Chappelle Show was, which is one of the reasons why I liked her. And I was walking down the street, with her, and somebody yelled, "I'm rich, bitch," and she said, "So am I," right? I was like, oh, yeah.
like in passing, like it was no big thing for her.
It was no big deal. Like, so am I.
Well, I'm like, this happens all the time.
Well, first, I bet a lot of people thought it was Dave that said that because his picture's on the end, and then you know what I'm saying. So I'm sure they've, that was probably a confusion. And second, I got to talk to you about during that time in the Chappelle Show, and when you guys were doing that, it was an interesting time in the United States because it was like the internet existed, but social media, it was like the start. It was like this weird time where there was still less things to consume, so America was watching the same kind of thing. Like now it doesn't exist. Like there'll never be a show that big because it's so segmented. There's so many.
Yeah, and it wasn't at that time. It wasn't like people just want their content when they want it. Then it wasn't any on demand. Like you said, like people were having Chappelle Show parties. Yeah. It was like, yo, we got to be home on a Wednesday night at a certain time. Yeah. Appointment setting. They don't do that anymore. Yeah. And that just goes to show you how dope the show was to not have those social media outlets and then like, okay, we're going to put it on Twitter and all those other platforms. And the show still was like one of those shows where people talked about it the next day.
Yeah, but it was so raw, too. My God, it was
the right time for it. People were bored with like a lot of things that were happening on TV. I say it all the time. I don't know if it's like every 10 years or whatever. Every so often, people get bored with a certain thing. Then something comes along and it's new and people get excited about it. Like before in Living Color, in regard to like African Americans, there weren't too many African. There weren't any African like heavily African American cast. Yeah. And that show came on and it was popping. Years ago, Richard Pryor's show, it was a time when people were like sick of just the regular PC stuff. His show popped. In Living Color popped. Yeah. Dave Chappelle show popped. And people are quick to say there'll never be another one. It won't be another Dave Chappelle show, but it will come a time when consumers are going to want something different and the shift is going to change. And I think that shift is going to change, especially like how we're in such a PC world right now.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
you know what I mean?
that.
It's like now, and it's like you go to a show. Say you got a show, you got a room 500 people, and 498 people are laughing, and 2 people aren't. And those 2 people will have the biggest voice, and that's the voice that people focus on more so than the 98% of other people that enjoyed the show. But with that said, it's comedy. It's getting kind of watered down. You know what I'm saying? The comics are getting nervous. But the shift, it's going to shift. It's going to shift, and I know so because I was with Chappelle in L.A. a couple weeks ago, and he was on stage, and he said, now more than ever, comedians, it's time for us to grab our balls because it's important for us to talk about all the wrong things that's going on in this world. Yeah. And who can do it better than a comic? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're doing it right now. Like your Twitter, man. If you're not following him on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, you got to do it. You're Jesse Smollett, like that video.
Oh my God!
Jesus Christ, man! I fucking watched that. I laid in bed. My wife's like, "What?" Because she heard Robin Roberts in the back, and she's like, "What are you watching?" And I go, "You got to watch it." And we sat in bed and watched that on loop.
Max, let me explain something.
And when you start to go, and you start doing the,
let me tell you something. You know,
it's so good.
You know how when you have an idea, we all get ideas, but the execution, it would stop a lot of things. Yeah. You know, like, I got a brilliant idea. What are you going to do about it? Let's wait for next week. I'm telling you, bro, when I watched, and I kept watching the video, and I was like, what if she's interviewing me? And the thing got inspired. Too, and it got inspired from a meme that I posted. One of my meme guys, he came up with this thing of like we did the fake TMZ story of me being attacked at the farmer's market by some people that had cucumbers and a mask on, and they tried to lotion me. And I was like,
he's hilarious. And he's holding the fucking lotion around his neck.
And then the meme is so fun. The meme was so funny. I was like, we got to go all out. And I watched the interview, Go on America, and I had that, you get that light bulb. It was like, bing. I was like, man, this was dope. And I was in between traveling. I traveled a lot. So I just came, I was on the road, went to LA, and I had a day to do it. Then I was going to be here. But I would have tried to figure out a way to do it here if I couldn't get it done. But I was really proud and happy of the fact that I came up with the idea. Then I was having trouble getting someone with a green screen. And last minute I found somebody. We shot it. And I did, like you noticed with the noose, with the lotion, when I was on Chappelle's show, a lot of times they didn't give me a lot of words. So I was like, if you don't give me a lot of dialogue, when you see me, I'm going to be funny. I have a way of being able to make the funny before I even open my mouth. So I'm driving to dude's house. We about to shoot. I was like, bro, I got to get a noose. And I know, you know how hard it is to ask for rope now? You know how hard it is to ask for rope now? I was like, I went in there, I was like, where do y'all keep y'all rope? And they were looking at me like, you're not going to Jesse us, bro. You got to it's behind the counter. You know what I'm saying? You know it's trouble when they keep it behind the counter.
But the way you hid the reveal, I don't want to ruin it for people, but the rope is connected to something, and it's just good. It's
man,
good as fuck, man.
I'm telling you, bro, like, as much fun as you had watching it, me doing it, I was like, how am I going to keep a straight face? And I knew, I was like, when this video pops, like, I was talking to the editor, we had one rough cut where it started with just me. I was like, we can't just start with me. Let's start in the studio with Strahan and Robin and them. We bait them in, right? And then I was like, I need a laugh within the first 10 seconds. And the minute it goes from Mike and Robin to the studio with me, it's an instant LOL.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's off
so
to the races
good, and
after
it's so
that.
brutal because, like, I still, like, there was that point a couple of days ago where it was like we were in this weird holding pattern, and I'm like obsessed with the story because I think it's completely bananas.
Well, the reason
crazy.
why we were in the holding pattern because you didn't want to believe that someone would do that.
Yeah.
And I've done like interviews about it. I was like, the whole Jesse thing, there was some good and a lot of bad that came out of that.
Yeah.
The good was you felt that it wasn't just the LBG community that felt bad for him. It was everybody.
Yeah.
It was everybody because you was like, what world are we living in? You know what I'm saying? And then you're saying, and I know on both sides of people's upset. And then I know people's like this, the MAGA motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, the good thing about it was like people came together and they supported him. The bad thing about it was a lie. But at the same time, there was some truth in that lie because those things do happen to people.
They do.
Some people
they go unreported.
They don't want to report it. But it's unfortunate because with that, and it's the same thing with like the Me Too movement and everything, you don't want to second guess when someone reports something like that. You don't want to be like, somebody say, I know this sounds, it might be tough. Somebody said, I got raped. You don't want the other end to say, was it rape?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What type of rape?
You're discounting
You
it.
know what I mean? Discounting. And that's what's unfortunate about it. But it's interesting, as aggressive and as much as the LBGT, I forget the letters, as they wanted him to be the poster child, nobody is doubling back and saying, you know what, it was a lesson learned. You can't just rush to judgment. You got to let facts prove situations.
Sure.
And that's what's unfortunate about it. Like, yo, he fucked up. He fucked up for y'all movement. He fucked up for everything. Because you don't want people, like the place we are now, we've evolved. You know what I'm saying? I know I've been doing comedy for 25 years.
Yeah.
Things that I would say that I thought was funny 25 years ago, I know it could be a problem now. You know what I'm saying? And what he did, it just takes it back. You don't want people to feel like, see, this is that bullshit I was talking about.
Yeah.
It's awful. And the thing about it, I met him a year ago.
He's a talented guy. I think that's what sucks.
And the thing about it, when I met him in Philly. I was doing a show in Philly, and I was doing one of those like Good Morning Philly shows or whatever. And he was, I think he had an album he was releasing.
Yeah, he's a good musician. I was telling Sam this, our producer, yesterday. I was like, if you listen to this guy perform, he's great. He could have just relied on that.
And the thing about it was, when I met him, I don't watch Empire, so I didn't really know.
It's a good show.
I don't really, to be quite honest, I didn't really know who he was.
Yeah.
But everybody, I just saw the energy toward him, and they was like, "That's the guy from you don't know him." Blah 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 blah. And I talked to him, and he felt like a really cool dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't, yes, he wasn't extra. He was a cool dude. It seemed like he was humble and everything. So, but you never know. This business is so screwed up, and people get addicted to the fame. People get addicted to the connection they have with people. They get excited about it, and they just want to keep driving that. Like some people are not just happy with money. Some people are like, I got money, but I want everybody to talk about me.
And
that drives them. But it's so.
It also drives people crazy, like this industry.
But he like, as we say in the streets, he deserves all the smoke he's getting.
Yeah.
He deserves all the smoke. People like this. Someone was like this. Oh man, enough is enough. I was like, no, it's not. It's gonna go on and on because that situation, it was ugly for so many reasons.
Oh yeah, you know what? You brought up a point. It's like the entertainment business. It fucks with people and drives them crazy. And it seems like that used to happen a lot. Like, do you remember when Eddie Murphy like went off the deep end for like a little while and like started doing?
I remember, but I don't know the details.
Because it was pre.
I think everybody that has that level of fame, though, you could throw people in that category. You know, like one of your best friends, like when Dave disappeared and went to Africa. You know, it's like there are times when people distance themselves from
but people I always want to say crazy. Everybody can't afford to go crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you don't never know what's on somebody's mind. When Dave Chappelle left the show, people like, do I think Dave is crazy? I was like, I don't think he's crazy. But, you know, for me, as a guy that never seen a check for $52 million, I thought it was crazy that he walked away from it. You know what I'm saying? That was me, because I'm different. You know what I mean? But everybody is not.
We're all wired differently.
Yeah.
But I did this. I was like, going back to the crazy part. I was like, I called my accountant, right? And I was like, can I afford to go crazy? He was like, nah. He said, you can afford to streak or have a breakdown for a minute, but like a whole week of craziness, you're gonna be wrong.
Crazy Monday to Tuesday, maybe Wednesday.
And he'll call me like 12 midnight. You gotta stop being crazy, bro. You're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah. Going back to like the Chappelle show and then how sensitive everybody is now, and then like the skits. On the Chappelle show that you guys were able to do at the time and push the limits that obviously, I'm sure back then you got some pushback, but we just didn't see it as much because
if you would have
social media.
The things that didn't make it to standards in practice.
Oh, really?
Oh, we went hard. But they were like this, I can't do. I mean, we went hard, bro.
What are some of the things they turned down?
I don't want to talk about that. I don't know. Maybe it was when Dave kicked the baby. He was like, you know. But it was so funny. But a lot of times people don't understand or see your vision. Like a perfect example, the Rick James sketch was one of the biggest sketches. I think that was one of the sketches that took it out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
I mean, but away from the first episode where they did the white blind black supremacists, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
that shit was so funny.
The ending to that, when asked why after all these years would you leave whatever, he was like, because he's a nigga lover. Man, I know America was like what the fuck just happened? But at the same time, what's going to happen next? And Rick James sketch, when we did that sketch, the funny thing about that sketch, I don't think anybody had ever had a half-hour programming where basically the whole half hour was one sketch.
Yep. Yeah.
Sketch show is like this, okay, 3 minutes, 4 minutes here. And then Comedy Central didn't like that sketch. They didn't think that Charlie Murphy was funny. They didn't think he was funny in it. But I was the wraparound stand-up. I was the warm-up comedian for that show.
Yeah.
Like, before Dave came out, I was a comedian. They got the audience excited about Dave, excited about the show.
Yep.
And I mean, this was people, when we first started first year of the show, people didn't know what the show was. It hadn't blown up yet. So it's just like one of those things like, hey, you guys want to see a show? Dave Chappelle from Robin Hood Men Attack, blah, blah, blah. They didn't know what they
expect. And it was instantly different. It really was. Because I love sketch, and I remember putting it on and being like,
but nobody,
I like this. This is weird, you know?
Nobody knew what they were there for, so I would just destroy the room. And I knew, I was like, one of the reasons I did it for my career and my reputation, but I knew if they saw me doing stand-up before they saw me on the screen, when they see me on the screen, it's going to amplify the response. I mean, like a lot of times you see me come on, you hear people in the background like, ooh, clapping. It wasn't so much they was clapping for the sketch. They were clapping because that was the dude that just destroyed the room.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know he was going to be up there.
Yeah.
You know, but
part of the cast opened the room and they're giving love back to you. Sure.
Yep.
And do you, this is a question I thought about a lot because I was such a fan of the show, seen every single episode. Do you
still go back to it to this day?
Yeah. I was saying, we
till this day.
Yeah, he does.
But do you think
till this day
that if
you don't know the you know what was that fighter name? Wilder? Yeah, go ahead.
No,
no, you're good.
But do you think if the Chappelle show like did exactly what like all episodes today, could you get away with it?
Yeah.
Or do you think that society's too sensitive for that content?
No, I think you could still get away with it.
You don't think
you can get away with it because, and it's also who's doing it. People have such a love for Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Dave Chappelle can tell a joke and it's because he's so likable. You know what I'm saying? He could tell a joke. You got one comment, tell a joke, you're like, that sounded so mean. But then Dave Chappelle tell a joke, it's like this, oh, that was right on point. But I think because it was Dave Chappelle, and I think right now would be a perfect time for a show that wasn't so PC. Mm-hmm. It'd be a perfect time. It's never too soon to make. I believe it's never too soon to make funny observations.
Now you had said, and you said you just did Rogan's podcast.
That was great,
and that's on a whole, obviously a different level.
And I didn't know he has a lot of fans down here, and everybody looks like Joe Rogan down here.
Yeah,
it's like all jacked up, no hair. You know what I'm saying? Look like like they got their nose broke a couple times. The cauliflower ears or whatever.
A lot of swamp people down here.
Yeah, we are swamp people down here. Mountain Dew.
A lot of gator eating down here.
Yeah. It's good protein. But you had said on that show that Dave's like, hey, I want to produce your next your next special, and I'm excited to see you. And
it's
that.
And that wasn't people, and that wasn't coming from me begging him.
Right.
It's come from
that's organic. It's awesome.
It's come from me being on the road with him, and him he's been watching me perform for the last 3 years, and he knows me, and it's like it's just time. Like he talks to me, he's like, Donnell. He said, let me produce your special.
Yeah.
And then what am I going to say? Let me think about that? Hell no. Like, if Dave Chappelle is going to produce my special, then I get everything that comes with Dave Chappelle, the top directors, the top graphic people, to everybody that can make it poppin'. And I think that it's now, like, I haven't done a special in like 5 years. And then with comedians, like, you run material so much after a while, you'll get bored with it.
Yeah.
But you'll get bored with it, but you need an outlet. And I think that where I'm at in my show, I'm not at the... I think I always have room to grow and to be better. But right now, it's time for me just to get rid of the material that I'm doing now and start all over because I got some fire stuff.
Well, I feel good too. I was telling Tom, you inspired me when I was listening to that because I really liked how you kind of took this approach of like, when I'm going to do it, like I'm on the same level as anybody else. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to kill it, but I want to make sure that I have all my ducks in a row. I'm going to plan, I'm going to do it right.
Yeah. We're rolling the dice because Netflix is giving a lot of people deals. They're not giving me one. I know I'm on their radar. I've been around them.
They'd be stupid not to, right?
But it's so hard for people to roll the dice on themselves. It's like this. Oh, I need Netflix to put up the money. Blah 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 blah. But the way we're gonna do it with no home, where we feel confident enough that the fan base that I have, what I'll bring to a special. The quality of the production that we feel comfortable that somebody's going to buy it.
Yeah, 100%, because we live in this world now that you can release your own content to the world, and you're your own distributor, and all you need is to have your fans support you.
Man, as much, and I know how big the podcast world is, but I never really took it that serious because I travel so much everywhere I go, people like this. Do my podcast. And I was like, oh, everybody's got a podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, what's going to make mine different and why would it? And I had thought about it, but just having that conversation with Joe, and I didn't prep him to say that. He looked me in my face and like throughout our conversation, everything was like, you need one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure he said it to people before, but with him saying that, and then I saw the feedback on social media, it's not with just him saying that, it's like my fans are saying it.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love it, man. Yeah. I'd love it. I'd subscribe tomorrow.
Because what's interesting about a podcast is it could be anything. It doesn't. There's no restrictions. There's no formula. Right. It's literally whatever you want to do. You do a once a month podcast. It's you talking shit, telling some stories. Like people would love to consume
it's the ultimate in creativity too, because you can try stuff. You're not necessarily on the hook for that one night. If you go up there and you're burning new bits, and you'll know because you've been doing, like you said, you've done this 25 years. You know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Right.
But with a podcast, because it is, it's so open.
But I'm telling
you can just try stuff, and if it doesn't work, whatever, I'll do it again tomorrow. It
inspired me for so many reasons. It inspired me because I'm like, here's another outlet, and another inspiration. When I walked in his studio, I was like, it was like a compound. I'm like, okay, podcast. I'm like this. Right. I'm like this. Oh, you know how they do thing when you double up on the way. I was like, oh, you got a podcast.
Yeah. Well, that's I mean,
it gave me incentive and inspiration.
Yeah, like that's how hard, even for us. It's like I guess we're like a medium podcast. I know we're in the top 95% of all podcasts.
Yeah, but y'all got y'all shit together, man.
You have to though, right?
I travel so much and And I know I was at first when they told me in my media like, and you got to do a podcast. I'm like,
yeah, of course, yeah,
not another podcast.
That's why we do all
I
this.
told my manager, I'm like, man, who is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? You know, because a lot of times you go and it's like
you're in someone's kitchen.
And that I don't have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know people have to come up, but I'm like, is it the real deal? You know? And then my manager came back, he was like, well, they say it's a real deal. I'm like, all right, then let's do it. You know, it was never like just to blow it off like I don't do podcasts, but I was like, it could be, you know, on the road, it could be frustrating because you get one this like this is like Joe Blow. You know what I'm saying? It's like and there's nothing wrong with it. Everybody got to start, but
yeah,
but you got 10 subscribers, and then you know, at the end of the day,
time.
I always want to use a platform, especially if I'm traveling, to help sell tickets. You know,
sure.
And like this, it's like I forget that some of these podcasts are live.
Yeah.
You'll go somewhere, like do my podcast on Thursday, and then they don't even drop it until like 2 weeks later. Like, what the fuck was that about, bro?
No, believe me, I listen. People invite me to their podcast. I'm like, no. My ears, man.
Get on your podcast.
I'm like, no one's listening. Yeah, for you and 12 friends to listen. No.
Yeah, but that boy, I'm telling you, that damn Joe Rogan joint, that shit moves numbers. Man.
Oh my God, he's a beast.
He's the biggest, one of the biggest podcasts in the world. You know, at least top 10 or 5, or I don't know what it is, but it's gigantic, and it's only getting bigger. And now you have a lot of big time money and sponsors.
Well, you got
and
big
stuff.
companies trying to they're backpedaling and trying to buy up all the podcasts.
Well, you came from terrestrial radio, and because
yeah,
we both came from morning shows.
You were telling me he did radio, right?
Yeah. And so we.
No, I did radio. I got fired 3 times. I did radio.
Yeah. Well, I was telling me you got fired, and I'm like, fired from radio. I was like, shit. We got to talk about that.
Yeah,
because we shit on radio all the time, and we're still on radio.
Yeah. We're
the night show on Real Radio, the station you were on today. We're 7 to 9 on there.
We used to be the producers of the morning show, but Daniel did radio for 15 plus years. I did it for 10, and so we know, like, Clear Channel, biggest fucking corporation
they
there
fired
is.
Me. They fired me as Clear Channel, and they fired me as iHeart.
I don't know what
they disguised it. They like no.
I only resigned under Clear Channel. I never worked for iHeart.
That's hilarious. It's like this Clear Channel fired. Like, this is a new name.
I want to know what you have to do to get fired.
But you know, it's not.
I got forced out.
But it's not. Well, I don't. Okay, they don't call it fire. I had a contract. No cause clause. You know what I'm saying? Which basically means program director just wake up one day and say, we don't like him. We got to give him a lot of money to get rid of him. But it was like, and it was always times where something that was happening where the climate was changing. Like when I got let loose on one, it was when the Donnell thing was around. So everybody was super sensitive. And then, like you have some program directors that are divas. They're like, how do I get in the paper? Fire somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, and we had just had a shift in program directors, and she came in like basically wanted to be like, we're going to prove to you that this is not what we're going to do, and I got thrown under the bus. You know what I mean? I used to do this thing. I did this feature where I mocked it. You think you're funnier than a 5th grader? Mm-hmm. I had you think you're funnier than a Jamaican. You think you're funnier than a stripper. Uh-huh. You know what I mean? I did all that. And everybody was cool with it until I said you think you're funnier than an Asian. Right? And the Asians was not having it.
Really?
And and the station could have fought for me to be on it, but they was like, comedians are expendable. You know what I mean? Like, we get it. That's kind of what they thought. But
over an Asian joke? Really?
It was a Asian joke, but they painted it as if like I was a hot wire. Like we don't know what he's going to say. But I always pushed the envelope.
Yeah.
But I'd never crossed the line. But again, the people that were on the show, they got behind closed doors like, yeah, we don't want Donnell to risk it. And they got rid of me. But I didn't mind because every time I did radio, it was because I came through when somebody got fired. So I was coming in like to be a guest, and I got the job. And I never wanted to stop doing stand-up, but New York is a big market for radio, and then I was getting some good money, so I wasn't forced to go on the road. I'm like, I could take this weekend off.
Yeah.
But when I got let go, it didn't stop my flow. It gave me more opportunity to go out and do stand-up.
That's another skill set you collected too. I mean, just knowing how to do radio.
I'm telling you, like, a lot of times in morning radio, you don't have people that are passionate about it. You have people that do it for different reasons, like, yo, I was trying to be an actor, it didn't work out, this was a safe job. You know, I was trying to pursue this, but then I got married, I had kids. And I don't knock a dude because, like, you know, in any place, morning show, you can create a good lifestyle off there.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? If you ain't chasing the super fame, you could get the house to pick and fit. You know what I'm saying?
You settle down, you're
it's a
be great,
extremely comfortable.
You're making a good $200K a year.
Easy. And then especially on the family side of it, you at work at 6, you back at home, you can pick the kid. It's like I see it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you get some free food in the morning.
You get free food. You get free food all the time.
You get a big old fat ass.
But you get a lot of annoying people telling you to shout them out for no reason too. Yo, it's Ray Ray's birthday. Shout him out. It's Tony's birthday. Shout him out.
You don't have to be that funny. It's just like you're settling.
Do people actually listen to their shout outs? That's what I've always wondered. Like people ask for shout outs, but how do you react when you're like listening to the radio and you hear like, hey, I want to give a shout out to Ray Ray? It's like, are you like, ah? Like, what do you do?
I used to, one of the things when I was in New York, it was so dope when I was at Power 105, because this was a time when I was like in the club scene real hard. And it was so dope where I could call up the hot DJ. I'm riding down West Side Highway with chicks in the car. We having a good time. And then I would call one of my dudes. He was like, shout out to Donnell riding down the West Side Highway, blah, 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 blah. And like right in the moment. And they was like, we on the radio! Give me that dick! We on the radio! Pull over! I need that dick right now! Girl, he got me on the radio. You hear me on the radio.
I love it.
Well, you know, I was just thinking about the like Clear Channel and iHeart, and
you worked for iHeart.
How ridiculous it is that that they let you go for a joke that probably they got maybe one complaint, probably nothing. And then it's just a bunch of people that are not Asian have banded together and decided that your Asian joke
was
is
white people. 100%.
But that's what the dope thing.
That wasn't an Asian person who made that decision. That was a white person. We all know that.
White people make all the decisions. But it's like, it's just, and when I was getting let go, it was like you have a presence on radio, and then when they let you go, you just disappear. Imaging takes, like whatever. It's the Ed Lover show with Egypt in Ashy. Then the next image is like, it's the Ed Lover show with Egypt. And you're like, what happened?
They just make it so you disappear, and they hope no one asks questions, which is stupid because now social media.
That's the point. That's the point I was making. Like when I got a little bit further, it wasn't no way for people to know what happened, what am I gonna do next or whatever. It's like all I want to do is to be able to just to shout out one more time, like sign my guest book. Just they let you go. When that key card don't work, it don't work. But now
that happened
it's
to
like
me.
it's tough. Like another gig, I didn't really get fired from that gig. It was when I was in D.C. Situation was they started a new morning show. They wanted me, but the money they were offering me wasn't enough for me to commit, or relocate, or anything. But it was long. You give me my tie line where I could just roll around. I could still do my shows. It was smart. Go for a week, but that didn't work out, and they started. Damn, y'all need to stop smoking weed. I just lost my thought right in the middle of that shit.
Well, you're talking about your second radio gig.
I'll never stop smoking weed.
And then, by the way, we got medical
forgot
marijuana
too.
here.
I don't even know where I'm at right now.
Oh no, this is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
The presence.
Who are we talking
to? The other gig that I had when I got let go, it just didn't work out. And I started creating a social media presence, Twitter, and Twitter was just popping, and I would harass the morning show on Twitter. I would just
one you got let go from?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would not really let go. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I would be like, it was Big Tigger's morning show, right? And I was like, I can't believe Big Tigger would make me relocate from California and get me fired and not even take my phone calls. And he was getting so much response on Twitter that he had to address my Twitter rant on air.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, he was like this. Let me explain he was like this. When we come back, we're going to explain that I didn't fire Donnell. You know what I mean? But I just kept on dogging him. I was like, yeah, hate. After what happened to black on black crime, you ain't no real brother, sell out. And he just couldn't take it because he was buried to his phone.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is like, even though I still love the idea of terrestrial radio, but you can take that You could take the energy, you could take your files, and you could, like what you guys did, make your own platform.
Well, you know what's insane to me is you're 1,000 million times more famous than Big Tigger on the radio or anybody you've done morning shows with. So that shows you how smart program directors are. Is the fact that
it wasn't
Donnell,
about him. It was about the program director. I'm going to use the.
It was
about her making a stance. It was
with the Big Tigger situation. It wasn't. They were like. It was kind of hard because I had a tie line and it had like a delay, and you have to really pay attention if you want a radio show to work, and everybody's not in the room. You got to pay attention. You can't step on them. You got to pay attention, and they weren't on the other end. They weren't willing to do that. They weren't willing to do that. And they got to a point where it was like this, we need you in the studio. I was like, you're not paying me enough money to commit to just the studio.
Your talent. Yeah.
So it was a thing like this show, like we had a good start. It would have worked out if everybody could have got on the same page.
Yeah.
If everybody, because nowadays with radio, now everything is like pre-recorded.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally do away from doing time and temperature, you could pre-produce a week of programming.
Yeah, they do.
Especially with black radio with like not too many talk breaks. You could just I've seen the dudes like they do a show and they sleep to halftime.
Well, ours is pre-recorded. Like our 7 to 9 that we do on Real Radio, we'll record it in this studio and then I just send it down the line to them. And then they play it at night. People still think it's live. It's not.
Man, but the best thing about it just gives you more opportunity to do other things.
It does.
You know?
Donna, I want to ask you real quick about your Air Force career and how you transitioned. Because I read something I wanted to know is true real quick. Is like during the Player Haters Ball sketch, and your Hater Beautiful, and you to Mr. Roboto, you said like what I assumed back when I first watched it was just nonsense, you know, like you were just but it actually you were saying Korean slurs to him, and it's a very subtle thing that probably no one unless they knew Korean would know. But you knew Korean because you were stationed in Korea, right?
I was stationed in Korea, but the Korean people knew it, like, and I started getting a little Asian following, and then like they would come out of the yo, I fuck with you, and I say yo, young them, I was like, 감사합니다, 내가 똑똑해 알았어, and they be like, oh, it's so funny. Because you don't hear too many black people speak a second language. You know what I mean? They might get some little Spanish. But hearing a black dude speak Korean, like, who did you fuck? Like, just like, who did you, you know? But I don't speak it. In my bio, it says fluently, but I speak it at a conversation level where if I was in Korea, you couldn't overcharge me. Prostitutes couldn't overcharge me.
Oh, yeah.
That's the important shit. That's the important shit.
That's all, that's the most important.
And I know how not to order dog. You know what I'm saying? So once I got that,
have you had it though? Have you had dog?
How did you?
Yeah, I've had dog.
I would try it.
I used to date a lot of white chicks. You got to have a dog.
Well, I had friends that were stationed.
You want some ass? Get a Frenchie.
Yeah, they like the French bulldogs.
And rescue, get one pure breed, and then you got one that you don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, you got to get an old blind. It's got
cloudy
eyes.
If you can get a dog and he got the fucking wheelchair, you get all the ass.
Oh, there's one right. The one that lives right here is a Basset Hound.
Yeah,
and it's got the PVC wheelchair. and it's a hot girl.
You get all ass.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What you saying?
Wheeling around.
You blew past the part where like you picked up and you learned like at least conversational Korean. I've had friends.
Hard as fuck, man.
I've had friends stationed in South Korea and they didn't bother to pick up any you know. So that's an interesting fact that you were like, hey, I'm gonna learn this.
The reason why, because I was a cop, I was a police officer, and we used to work we had guard duty, like the front gate.
Yeah.
So you'd be communicating a lot.
Yeah. So to my point, it would be 2 Americans and 2 Koreans. So if you working 8 and 12-hour shifts, you just gonna stare at a person. You try to learn stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I was really good. Then I would like 8 hours. I'm like, all I'm doing is waving people on the gate. I got time, and we used to teach each other. You know, I would teach them English, and then they would teach me Korean, and it just worked. And when I was over there, they loved me because they really appreciate the fact that I cared enough to try to really adapt to their culture.
Yeah.
And
That's a respect thing.
It's a respect thing. And I used to, I had some really good Korean friends I met over there that were police officers on the other side. And when we would have days off, I would travel with them to their hometowns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you talking about experience. I would go places where they never seen American, let alone a black American. And I felt, I don't know, I felt like a supermodel.
Yeah.
I felt exotic.
Yeah.
Certain places I felt uncomfortable. They would come up to me and rub my skin like, oh, is this shit gonna come off? And we're talking about I'm going to places where, and then I think about it, I was crazy as shit because I wasn't fluent. I just knew enough. But everywhere I went, it was like I was a Olympic athlete. Like they was everywhere I go, they was like anything I do, they was like, oh, USA. They wanted to know, and I was hustling over there. Not hustling dope or anything, but like I would have like two 6-packs of it's like American Budweiser beer, right? And for me, beer is beer. And like for places I would go, they never had American beer, so I would trade them one Budweiser for like 8 of their beers. Yo, I was coming back. I had backpacks and shit. Anything they was like, yo, anything over there, oh, American. But it really was that experience. Was awesome, and I look at how long ago that was, and I wonder because I don't think on the international level. I don't know how far I've gotten, but it'd be interesting if, like, because I did a cameo in Spider-Man 2.
You should go back to Korea.
Yeah, them motherfuckers. I know I wouldn't recognize them motherfuckers now.
No, but I mean, like, I'm sure you got a following there. Yeah.
But I wonder if like when I did Spider-Man 2, that line I had, whoa, he stole that guy's pizza at the beginning of it. I wonder if any of them like in the theater. And they see me like, oh, because they used to call me bullshit man. Because I used to play all the time.
Bullshit man.
Yeah, they say, Rawlings, you're too much bullshit. And they used to call me bullshit man in gameplay. They didn't know how to say play too much. They'd be like, Rawlings, you bullshit man, too much gameplay. Why you every day? Every day. And then like they were like, why you all the time? What? I was like, what time? They said, all the time. My time, daytime, nighttime, everybody time. Too much gameplay. But I built so when I was there, when I used to work there, they loved the fact that I used to curse them out. And we that was the closest they're gonna get to American culture.
Yeah.
And then when I was about to leave, they requested me go to this hangar, right? And like all the Korean guys that weren't working, they were all in this one hangar, and they had all of their like the generals, 5-star. They had all the big dogs, and they brought me in there, and they was like, Rawlings, because they don't have the letter R in their alphabet. So that's why when you hear them like the L, they be like Rawlings. They said Rawlings. Everybody lock have know you're too much. Now putting my low. Now, putting my low is bad talk. It's like curse words. Everybody know you too much. Now, putting my low, but you too much game playing. You gotta understand, a person over here speak English struggling to be passionate.
He's being hard.
He's pouring his heart out. He's still broken. He's trying to get all the way. He's like, they know you're too much bullshit and too much gameplay, and they kept going and. But everybody know Rawlings inside, very good heart. That's what they say, very good heart, right? And I was like this, I'm like this. Oh, they was like very good heart. Oh, then I turned around and all the guys, there were all the other military guys. I turned around and they said, Rawlings, fuck you, man! Yo, they did a salute. They
saluted you till you go fuck yourself.
Like 2,000 people at the same time. Fuck you, man! And I was like, that was a great moment, man. It was so much fun.
That's fantastic.
Awesome. And how did you transition from Air Force career then to stand-up comedy and stuff?
That wasn't a transition for me because I was trained to be I was a law enforcement specialist.
Yeah.
So anytime in the military, whatever job you did, especially if you're young, you're going to pursue that when you get out. Not to say that that's like your life goals, but you want benefits, you want a good job. So I was waiting to be a DC police officer. And in the interim, I was head of security for a grocery chain, Safeway.
Oh, wow.
And there was a guy who used to work for Hostess, and he was a comedian at night, and then he was a Hostess rep in the daytime. So he would give out free passes, try to get people to show. And he started giving to people that I worked with, and they were like, yo, you should come to the comedy club just for fun. Never thinking about being a comic, and I went. I started heckling the comedians. I became one of the biggest hecklers in D.C.
No shit. Like you were known.
I was known. People started going to clubs if they, like the one club in particular, Comedy Connection Greenbelt. They would go to watch me heckle. And I got cocky because people, the audience started getting bigger. Like I knew people started going to see me heckle, right? So I went to the club owner. This is how much of an asshole, of bullshit man I was. I went to the club owner and I was like, listen, I noticed I've increased your business by 30%. I'm trying to negotiate a deal as a heckler.
That's fucking crazy.
I'm sure.
Nuts.
Did the comics ever try to like ban you from coming in?
No,
sure.
they would come up. They would come up to me and be like, yo, come on, man, don't fuck with me. I'm trying to work on some shit. I was like, go do your job. I'm gonna do my job.
I'm the heckler.
Yeah, I'm the heckler.
I'm
you do your
bullshit,
thing.
man.
I'm bullshit.
Yeah, you can't bullshit, man.
Yeah. What are you talking
Get
about?
up
Go
on
do
stage.
your bullshit.
Yeah.
Try to be bullshit.
Yeah,
man.
and you're in the audience. You tell them, get off my stage. This is my stage.
That's
I'm in the audience.
And then, of course, any club they're gonna try to get you shut up. They dared me to go on stage. The week they wanted me to go, I didn't go. I was nervous, and I thought about it. I wrote these jokes down, and I went on. And the first time I went on stage, I destroyed the room. And I never looked back.
That's awesome, man.
Yep, that was a transition.
Wow.
I never thought I was gonna be a comedian. Never wanted to be a comedian. It just happened. Never thought I'd be an actor. I just kept doing it, and then things started working in my favor. And like I never wanted to be famous. Some people, you hear their story like, always want to be on TV. I never want to do that. What I wanted to do was be good.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, if I'm good at comedy, it'll all fall into place.
And when did you get the the call or how the Chappelle Show,
Well, the Chappelle Show situation happened because Neil Brennan, who's co-executive producer, everything of that show, he used to be a PA for In Living Color. He would go around the country and just put people on tape. That was his job. And he became a fan of mine because then he knew my manager. And then he went off to write Half Baked with Dave. And then he optioned like 3 scripts that got sold, but they didn't get the green light. So he was a little frustrated. He was like, I'm doing these movies, I'm getting money, but I want people to see my stuff.
Yeah.
I want to direct. He didn't have no director skill or anything. He reached out to my manager. He said, I wrote this short. You think Donnell would do it for me? And at the time, I had done HBO's The Corner. I had some good things going on. I'm thinking I'm the show. I'm like, listen, I know you can't afford to pay me. He was already rich, right? I was like, I know you can't afford to pay me, but if you're ever in a situation where you can throw me a bone, let's see.
Sure.
So a month later, I did that for him. First thing he ever directed, edited, or whatever. I did that for him. And then like a couple months later, he was like, yo, I'm working on this show. I'm going to be doing the show. I'm going to let you know. I was like, what's the name of the show? And he didn't have a name at the time. He said, I don't know. I was like, listen, only call me if you're serious. Right? And then another month went past, and then the name of the show that didn't have a name that he put me on was Chappelle Show.
That's
so,
nuts. And that's true artistry, too. The fact that you said he had money, and he's like, nah, I just want people to see my shit.
Yeah,
like,
but he's about
true
that.
Artist.
That's a true artist. And I was on the same page, and our connection was dope. And as much as, but Dave Chappelle had to sign off on it. You know, Neil brought me to it, but Dave had to be the one to say yay or nay. And he did because he knew me from D.C. And as much as people just assume because I'm black, Dave's black, you know, it was just an automatic hookup. And I tell people, and it's hard for people to take, I was like, Neil Brennan, I was like, that's my nigga. You know what I'm saying? At the end, not the earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't even timeline, don't blow up. I'm just saying, like, that's my nigga. And like, he's always been a good friend of mine. He's been true. He's moved on and done a lot of other things. Yep. But it was that experience was so dope. And people always, you know, you got haters out there. Well, if it wasn't for Chappelle Show, blah, 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 this and that. I'm like this. At the end of the day, the Chappelle Show created a platform for people to see what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same way Joe Rogan, when I did Joe Rogan has a platform. He's created a platform for people to get introduced to me.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people don't know Joe Rogan's like, I didn't even know this guy. And not even see me do it. I didn't know this guy, but I'm a fan now, blah, 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 the way he's talking. So, you know, with that said, it's like we are going to get platforms. And then when you get the platform, you just shine.
Yep.
and everything else will fall into place.
Last question for you, Donnell, because I know you got to go. And again, go buy tickets at the Improv. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. It will sell out.
And I don't do characters on stage. Yeah. I did a show a couple weeks ago, and this black dude was like, "Yo, son, what the fuck? Why you ain't do Ashley Larry?" How the fuck do I do Ashley Larry at a live show? Just take my clothes off and you look at my knees like, you want me to do Ashley Larry?
Yeah.
I got your Ashley Larry.
Well, my last question, I saw it in the in our chat room and you kind of touched on it a little bit when you're like, hey, anytime I had camera time, I'll just make sure that so they noticed me, and everybody who watched the Chappelle Show knows that you did the robot a lot.
That wasn't me. That was Carl. That was a PA. That wasn't me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that was racist. That was racist. And that was racist for you to think that I did that. That was racist.
Because I knew that wasn't you.
He has a habit of ending.
Yo. I see what now.
I knew that.
I'm going to get my black on. Oh, I see what's going on up in here.
Just so you know, Tom ends every interview with a black comedian by saying he's another black comedian.
No, by saying, yo, I saw you do the robot.
I know.
It could be Martin Lawrence in here like, yeah, Martin, when you did the robot on the Chappelle Show.
So what was it like hosting Let's Make a Deal?
Yeah, exactly. I've got that before too.
You know what?
Don't read EJ's.
I know. You know what?
Look how red he is. Look how red.
Well, because I know.
I'm gonna put the camera right on him.
He did it on purpose.
Fuck you, EJ. Because I knew. I was like, wait a minute.
Don't listen to EJ. He's the most unfunny comedian you'll ever meet.
You know, that's a scenario where I 100% knew that, and then I was like, maybe I'm wrong. Why the fuck? And then why did I even ask that question?
The reason why you said maybe I'm wrong because white people not used to being wrong. You're like, oh no, I can't be wrong. There is no fucking way I could be wrong.
Of course.
All right, well, no, 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. If you want to go
wait.
It's crack-a-lackin'.
There he goes.
That's not you. It's not you.
All right, here you go. It's me.
Let him eat
Of course
cake.
I did that. Of course. Why couldn't I just
kept your mouth shut.
professional and not look like an idiot?
Fucking embarrassed me. In front of one of my favorite comedians. Thanks a lot, man. 2 shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. Hey, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing your shit, man. As much as people understand, people just think, oh, I'm just going to get a podcast. But the way this shit works is you have to have the commitment to keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Even with YouTube getting subscribed, it's 1 subscriber at a time. And I could tell the way you got studio looking and everything, y'all serious about that shit, and y'all doing the right shit.
And we brought a lady in to run because she's running shit.
Oh, yeah?
So she keeps us, we're organized.
Good stuff.
We had to bring in a woman to do, we were a fucking
I don't even like the way you said woman like that. That sounds like barefoot in the kitchen like a woman. Supper.
They just hired me to clean after that.
I'm not going to be a part of that, man.
She makes our sandwiches.
There's a reason
CNN like, Donnell made me feel so uncomfortable with his woman choke.
There's a reason we got a plant in here. You know what I mean?
It's got to get watered, right?
This motherfucker's out of control. All right. We'll see you at 2 p.m. for the Friday Free Show.
And where's the shrimp and grits, bitch?